cut it down almost 80 years ago. It is very, very hard wood, so the stamp is still remaining here. This is Iroko. We Ghanaian call it Odum.
So I'm ready to go to the airport. I'm waiting on my Uber. Let me show you my luggage. Just all packed up here. And I have a carry-on over here as well. So basically I made a list and I packed up everything that I need, and I'm gonna start making my way down for my Uber. And I slept all night. I literally just stayed up throughout the night. It's now like 5:30. I stayed up, cleaned. I like a nice clean apartment when I come back. I had to work, do a little bit of work before I leave. Got rid of any laundry that I had, fresh sheets, everything. Did my best to keep it as organized as possible. Take out all my trash, anything I could do to make the return easier, I did. Now I'm ready to go and I'm ready to start my journey. It's gonna be a long one. Going to the airport kind of early. Is this considered too early for an international flight? My plane leaves in like 2.5 hours. I'm taking one to New York and then I will take another plane straight to Ghana. Very excited. May the Lord be with me and my family as we make this travel. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I Am Patience. I'm filming this video late. As you can see, it's been a gloomy, rainy day. A good day to stay in, to sleep. I wanted to do this video. I've been meaning to share my vlog and I could have just done a voiceover. It's somewhat easy to do it this way and I actually enjoy doing it this way. So why not? Hopefully the lighting is not too bad. Typically I would have done it early. The lighting wouldn't have been any better. Today sucked. No sun, lots of rain. I want to talk about my trip to Ghana, which happened back in October. I've been meaning to get this out, but I've been procrastinating. That's why I'm like, today I'm going to film this. Anyway, this is your first time here. Hello, welcome. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, ring notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, and like this video. And now that I've gotten that all out of the way, let me talk about my Ghana trip. So I had not been back to Ghana over 12 years, like almost 13 years. I'm so glad that I was able to finally go back. I was born in Ghana, if you didn't know. I lived in almost about 11 years old, but since I came to the States, I had not gone back. Which, because I was in school, it's expensive. Can we talk about the ticket prices? It's not easy, but it was so great to go back and share a few things that I did and how much I loved it. So one of the things my family and I were gonna do as we went to Ghana was to visit our village, or where we came from, our hometown. But it's a little village, and the village is called Tatale. It's near Togo, so it's not one that you can just drive up to. We had to like take a plane from Accra to Tamale and then drive, and it was such a long drive. The roads in Ghana are not great. They're not great at all. Like, they were one of the biggest disappointments because Ghana is 1/3 the size of Texas, and you can drive from like one side of Texas to the next side of Texas in like maybe 13-14 hours. With Ghana, just going from Tamale, which is the capital of the northern region, to Tatale, we should take probably no more than an hour. With good roads, took like 4 hours. So by the time we got there, it was really dark, but it was still a good experience. Another complaint that I had was definitely the ticket prices. They were not affordable, especially not for the average Ghanaian. I think the plane ticket from like Accra to Tamale was about $200, which is way more than most Ghanaians can afford to spend, especially on a 1-hour plane ticket. And it was not first class. This was one of those planes, there was no first class. It was a teeny tiny plane that 2 people sit on each side. It was a 1-hour flight. At least it was like include a return ticket, but still I thought that was a bit pricey. And that was something that I did notice about Ghana. It's really pricey if you go as a tourist, if you don't have a place to already live, if you don't already know the places to eat. Because I couldn't eat everywhere because I'm not used to areas that, you know, you can eat at. It's not the same. It's really expensive, and they charge in dollars. You can go to a hotel and they charge you like $300 per night. Whereas in America, you can go to almost any place and still be able to get a hotel room. Like, I'm talking about like a Comfort Inn, at a DoubleTree. You can get like a decent hotel and still pay like anywhere from $90 to $150-$60 per night. But at that place, even a basic hotel, not like it's given Ritz hotel, they're still charging you like $200-$300 per night for one room. And another reason why it's so sad is because you can tell it's not even for the locals. A person can work a whole month and still not have enough money to purchase just 1 day room at say Accra City Hotel, which is charged like $250 per night, versus in America the average person can afford to work a whole month and say you spend maybe one night at the Ritz Hotel. It's not like you can stay there every day, but you can at least afford with your paycheck one night. And by the way, I'm no way comparing Accra City Hotel to the Ritz Hotel. I'm just saying that you can still purchase a night at the Marriott Hotel. The money would go farther than it does over there. That was something that was very disappointing, how a lot of things were priced in dollars or pounds, go to a country and then their own currency, they don't take it in some places. But that's my personal TED talk on that. This is way more about the infrastructure, selling houses in dollars, going to buy $500,000 house in Ghana and the roads are super bad. So I did notice all those problems with the infrastructure, and I will get back to my vlog and to my trip, but that was something that I could not turn away. When I see that level of wealth inequality, it makes me uncomfortable, because even as an American that goes there, I can tell it's expensive for me, much less the people there who the daily wage is like 100 Ghana cedis, and 100 Ghana cedis you convert into US dollars is less than $10, and that's the daily wage. And yet they're selling houses for like $1 million. That's just ludicrous to me. So let's get back on this vlog. We traveled to the north through a car. That place had so many cows, goats everywhere. They take them for shepherding. We were going and then there's just a bunch of cows on the road. You shouldn't run over them, but sometimes it takes such a long time to get them all to cross. And it's every few paces you see one, you see another one, you see a lot of animals on the road. The road in Tamale through Yendi was probably better than some of the roads I'd even seen in Accra. It was so bad in certain places, including the central region where I had seen a bunch, like I'm talking miles and miles of roads just dug up and no roads being put up. We had lunch in Tamale. In the village we went to, there weren't really a lot of restaurants, and you have to be careful when you travel where you eat. And it's not because of, oh, you know, you don't want to be part of the locals, blah blah blah. You're not used to that water, you're not used to the environment, so you can get food poisoning and sometimes even worse. So really be careful when you travel, not just to Ghana, I'm talking about any country in general. A lot of time you want to stick to drinking bottled water, which is what we did. Another expense you have to put in your budget if you want to travel. Be careful when you eat to make sure that you're cooking with water that is treated. It's hot. At the least you give yourself a chance to not get sick, because there are a lot of people who go there and because they used to live there, they're like, oh, I'm part of the locals, I've not changed, and so they dig in and then they get sick. I lived in Ghana for many years, but even going back, I just didn't want to take that chance, and by God's grace, I'm fine. Now let's move on to where we slept. In Accra, we did Airbnb, which was really nice. They charged in dollars, but when we went to the north, there were not a lot of options when I talk about guest house. There was one like good guest house, and it wasn't good up to the standards. So you're seeing the videos now. This was such a big disappointment, especially for the price, because it was not cheap. And in the morning, there was a huge argument. I felt so uncomfortable. I didn't have a mosquito net, and there were mosquitoes, so I got bitten. Oh, I was so scared of getting malaria, which, by the way, you have to go get malaria pills. If you're going to travel, especially somewhere to West Africa, get your malaria pills. You do not want to get sick with malaria in Ghana. It's going to be super hard on you, especially if you're not used to the healthcare system. Even if you're used to different type of healthcare system, it's not comparable. It's not good to get sick in any country. So we went and we got malaria pills. You have to start taking the malaria pills like 2 days before you go, and then a week after you come back. You still have to take it all the way through. I was there for about 14 days and I got like 23 malaria pills. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Do not forget to take them every single day. So our trip to the north was very quick. We went there on a Friday and we came back Saturday evening, and that was just because we had so many things to do, so many people to visit, so many places to hit. We're just on the go in this trip. Like, it was not really like a vacation. We had a few good spots here and there, which I'll get into later, but a lot of time it was about visiting people I've not seen in over a decade. So it was just a lot of traveling and being in the car, and honestly, it was not like a real vacation like I wanted to. But the north was a breath of fresh air. It's not a developed place. It did remind me a little bit of my childhood, even way before my childhood, because I used to live in the city, so it was slightly more developed than it was in the north. But going to the north was very great. I'd only been there once before when I was younger, about 8 years old, maybe 8, 9, definitely no more than 10. So it was really good to be back. And then I'm pounding fufu. Look at this. I'm pounding fufu with my cousin. I never pound fufu seriously before. I was too young to have the strength to really be pounding fufu when I was back in Ghana. And when we came to the United States, I just don't pound fufu because that's not a food that like we eat. If they eat it, they eat like meat fufu, which is prepared differently. This was really fun to do, and I'm glad I had that opportunity and that experience. Another great thing about visiting people was getting baby pictures. I had almost no baby pictures, you all, and I got them. I got so many baby pictures from different family members. So like, oh, here it is, but I couldn't take the pictures, so I just took pictures of the pictures. Shows that at one point I was young as well. Just proof I definitely did not fall out of the sky. And when I came home, I made a canvas of mine and my sister's baby pictures, which is so cute. So on the return, we took that small plane again. The thing about the plane is that, you know how you go through the terminal and then you go directly from the terminal to the plane? Well, this one, when we're coming out, we had to walk outside of the terminal and then get out there, take a bus, then to the plane, and then walk up the plane. It was really weird. I was like, when was the last time I walked up a plane? And I think I did when I was coming to the United States. I don't remember much. Same when we're coming back. We had to walk up the plane, get in the bus, and then walk to the terminal, which was an experience. And of course, the food was delicious wherever we went. It was really good to be eating authentic food. I get to eat Ghanaian food in America, so it's not like it's something that's like the hardest to get, but it is good to get it directly from the source. A fun excursion we got to do was definitely Kakum. Kakum was amazing. I wanted to go there. I had to fight hard for it because the trip to Kakum was long. It was a long trip. We had to leave super early. The roads were not good. Well, probably would have been like an hour trip, maybe an hour and a half at most. On good roads took us like 4 hours. Where we went to Central Region. How America has states, Ghana has regions. So there used to be 10 regions when I was younger. Now it's 16. So Accra is the capital, but it's called Greater Accra Region. And then we went to the northern region where I used to be, but then we also went to Central Region where Kakum National Park is. It was such a beautiful rainforest. We heard some stories, history, got to learn about the forest.
Cut it down almost 80 years ago. It is very, very hard wood, so the stamp is still remaining here. This is Iroko. We Ghanaians call it Odum. And if you look at it well, you can see new one is coming out from the old one. But they are not the same species. It is not symbiosis, it is not crafting, it is not parasite. So who can tell us something about this? New one is growing out from the old one, but they are not the same.
And then we started walking the bridge. So if you don't know, there's 7 bridges. If you walk up the first one and you're scared, you can walk off. But if you walk to the second one, you can't just walk off. Finish all 7. And it wasn't too bad. At some point, it felt like you were climbing more than walking the bridge, but it was still great. And the entire excursion probably took an hour. So it takes about 20 minutes to hike up. Not even 20 minutes because you're stopping to hear the instructor. You're stopping to look around. And then it takes about 20 minutes to do the bridge. In a group, everybody has to do it. And then it takes another 20 minutes to come down. If you want to go get some sunscreen, it wasn't too bright the day when it's a rainforest, so you're being covered a lot, but you definitely want to get some bug spray because yeah, there are bugs there. Wear some good shoes, get some water, but use the bathroom before you go. There's no bathroom up there, at least not that I saw. And you want to make sure that you are also prepared to make that journey and to climb. And don't look down too much if you're scared of heights, but I was not scared of heights. They said they switch the ropes every 6 months. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but you know, I was like, you know what, if I go, at least I went beautifully in this nice place. It was so beautiful, so nice, so calm. We didn't see any animals, but apparently the animals come out at night. So if you want to see animals, you have to take the overnight excursion. But I was happy with what I saw. I was looking up, I was looking down, I was looking all through the side. I took videos. It was amazing. I would definitely consider doing that again. But I do not know about the road to get there. That was definitely annoying. So in the same day we went to Kakum National Park, we also went to Cape Coast Castle. So if you don't know what Cape Coast Castle is, it's a slave castle. If you do go to Ghana and you want to tour a slave castle, it wouldn't be my biggest recommendation. I'll say first go to Elmina, because Elmina is where you can get more of the history. The original door of no return is still at Elmina. Cape Coast does not have the original door of no return. They have made it into this big door and they have like the door of return. If you really want to talk about deep topics and understand what slave trade was really about, I'll say go to Elmina Castle. It's cleaned up. You still see remnants of it. Not that you don't see it as Cape Coast Castle. A lot of people will say Elmina Castle is where you should go. So if you didn't know, Ghana was colonized by the British. It used to be called Gold Coast. A lot of slaves that came through West Africa came through Ghana, as well as several ports as well. But Ghana was a major hub for the transatlantic slave trade. Going there, it just broke my heart. When I went to Elmina, I was young. I think I was like maybe 10, 11 years old. So I understood, but I didn't really understand as deeply. Now that I've learned more, I've educated myself more on it. Going to Cape Coast, it was heartbreaking. I know I definitely want to make the trip back to Elmina one day. I think I will understand way more. Even just being at Cape Coast, you can understand. You could feel the fear. You could feel how scared people are. You could see the torture. You could definitely see pain, and we didn't even get to see everything. There were some places that we couldn't even go. Oh my goodness, it was definitely emotional. It's just a history that is very complicated because the involvement of local people, certain tribes. I came from a tribe that was very affected as victims of the slave trade. There's still tension there. Ooh, excuse me. There's also sometimes a lack of acknowledgement, and it was not a history that when I was in Ghana you heard too much about. You still see the effects of colonization. You still see the effects of the slave trade. So even though that's something that happened over 100 years ago, colonization did not end over 100 years ago. And I think it was like the second or third country in Africa to get their independence. We're the only country in Africa that has never been colonized in Ethiopia. The struggle for freedom, because even after slavery and colonization, there's still exploitation happening in Ghana. And Ghana has its many issues. It's such a beautiful country and it has so much soul. Just like every other place has its issues. If you wanted to learn about the history, there's several books that you can read. But if you wanted to go to Ghana, because there's several slave castles in Ghana and forts, definitely Elmina Castle I would recommend. Visit as many as you can. It's just the trip to get there can be exhausting. One of the worst facts that I heard basically about the male dungeon. So if you don't know about slavery or how people were captured, they were marched all the way from where they were captured to, in the case of Cape Coast Castle, there was this room, I'll show the video, where they used to essentially sell the slaves. When they were put in the castle, they were crammed into dungeons, male and female dungeons. So the women would be in one place, the men would be in another place. And they were there for days, weeks, sometimes months, whenever the ship came. But the male dungeon we saw at Cape Coast Castle, above it, right above the dungeon, was a church. The creepy part, sadistic you might say, was that there was an opening where you can hear the suffering below as the churchgoers were on top. And because it's not like on Sundays or whenever they had mass or whenever they had church, they would let the people go. You could hear the suffering, the crying, begging, moaning, mourning from below. There's a church right above it. That was very creepy. Very, very creepy. Be prepared emotionally, mentally, learn from our history so it never happens again. That's just one of those experiences that I think everybody should learn about. It's not what it used to be. It's been cleaned up. You're not going to see too much of horrors. The spirits of the horrors are there. Go in there, you'll understand. No matter how they've cleaned a lot of parts, you can still see the torture there. You can still feel the torture in that place. Well, anyway, let's wrap that up and go on to another thing that I did, which was get my hair done. I got these boho braids. Now they've been there for several weeks. I love it. I love it. I love it. When I go back to Ghana, I'll definitely get it again because these cost me less than $70. If I got them done in the United States, that'll be over $300. Not to even mention how fast they were done. I think it took less than 3 to 4 hours, and they even washed my hair. So they washed my hair, they tangled it, they started braiding. At one point, like 5, 6 people were working on my hair. It was amazing. I was very tired because that was the longest hair appointment I've ever had in my entire life. It was good anyway because it went fast. I just had to get up at one point and stretch because I was tired. I was exhausted. I don't know how y'all sit there for 6, 7, 8 hours. I couldn't take it. That's why I don't see myself getting braids often. If they can look this good, I might decide to, you know, do it and then keep them in for several months. And I see why when people get braids and they keep them in for several months. It's so beautiful, so nice, especially if you get the right type. Like these boho braids are it for me. You will see me in more boho braids in the future. Great, because you wake up in the morning and your hair is done. I have washed it a couple of times and they still look pretty good. I'll be taking them out soon. I think I'm really gonna miss them. I really am, and I'm looking forward to getting them again in the future. Okay, so other fun things I got to do in Ghana was shop. Got some custom clothes made, which was so beautiful. I bought some beads. I bought some food to bring back. Pre-packaged food. You can't just bring open food. But I was able to get so many great things for affordable prices that, you know, United States will charge you way more for them, and it's not because shipping them here is expensive, but just because people can sell them at a much higher price. I just enjoyed visiting the places. The place I went to go get the beads, they actually make the beads there. It was there when I was younger, so it was still good to see that they're still operating over 15 years later. That longevity is not something that just happens on its own. Got to go to church in Ghana. We went for one Sunday. We saw a lot of family, friends, and friends as well. I also can't tell you how much I loved getting that Aquaba sign because it is so many Ghanaian households and I always wanted one, and I'm finally glad to finally have one as well. It's hanging right above my desk and I get to see it all the time. Okay, you all, that's all I can remember for now. It was such a great trip. Would recommend. Overpriced, yes. I definitely think there are better and cheaper ways to go to Ghana. You have to be careful, especially if you're a foreigner, just because they'll overcharge you anyways. It's really hard to find somebody who would charge you a good price, especially once you open your mouth and they hear the accent. It is possible. You can do your research. Also stay in safe places. That's one of the main reasons why we stayed at a place that caters to tourists and foreigners, because there's security there. The light does not go off. The water doesn't shut off. You just get more by paying more. And so because of that, you are able to still not feel too out of place. You're able to get Wi-Fi, have access to really nice accommodation, but it does cost, in my opinion, way more than it should. If you want to make sure you're not too out of your element, which you shouldn't try to do, especially if you've never lived in Ghana or been there in general, I think that your best bet is to stick to the overpriced services for accommodations, for travel, only because you're going to not feel too out of place. You're going to be safe. You at least know things are set in stone. Yes, I enjoyed my trip overall. I got a nice tan there. I just had this glow. The glow kind of wore off after I got sick because of the dooming winter and changing weather. Hopefully it's still there. Hopefully you still see a little bit of it. I'm so glad to have reconnected with friends and family. Finally see what Ghana has become. I was happy with some, disappointed in others, but like every country, they have their issues. Still doesn't take away from what a beautiful country that it is. It still doesn't take away from the beautiful people and the kind people. With that, I'm bringing this video to an end. Thank you all so much. Hopefully you enjoyed my vlog, my rants, my TED Talk, and just my feelings about Ghana. If you're waiting for a sign to go, this is definitely your sign. So thank you all again for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss out on any of my future videos. Let me know in the comment section, have you ever been to Ghana? Do you plan on traveling to Ghana? If you live in Ghana, what are your thoughts on the country? I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you all again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.